Hey, it's Courier Girl, and I'm sitting here waiting for my next job, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about traveling back and forth between states, because that's something that I do a lot, like every single day. And I learned a couple things that I never thought about before I started doing it. So I'm in Southwestern Ohio in the greater Cincinnati area, and I go a lot to Kentucky, sometimes to Indiana, but a whole lot to Kentucky, like multiple times a day. And one thing that I learned is that the traffic rules are a little different over there. So, for example, in Ohio, if you are in a residential area, kind of like a suburb or where a lot of houses are, speed limit is normally 25. And when you're in a school zone, speed limit is 20. But if you go over to Kentucky, it's the opposite. Residential areas are often 20 and school zones are 25. Go figure. Well, if you didn't know that, you could be cruising through a residential neighborhood to do a delivery. You could be going 25 because you think it's 25 because there aren't any signs posted sometimes. And then you start creeping up to 30 and then you get pulled over. So I decided that it was really important, at least for the states that I go to a lot, which is Ohio and Kentucky and sometimes Indiana, to make sure that I know the rules so that I don't have unnecessary expenses, if you know what I mean. So what I did is I went to the different BMVs in the different states, and I got one of those little booklets that they give kids when they're going to get their driver's license, and I use it as a reference to what the rules are, because it's going to have the most up-to-date info. So you could go on like Reddit or Quora or do a Google search, but you may or may not get the most up-to-date stuff. You could also go to your state website, which might be easier than getting the little booklet, and they're going to have the most up-to-date information. So sometimes the BMV will have its own site, and sometimes it's just on the state site. So just do a little bit of searching. But I just wanted to give you that tip. If you're driving out of state a lot, make sure you know the rules. Oh, and especially, even more so than the speed limits, which are important, make sure you know the phone rules, because they're different in each state. Obviously, you never want to text and drive. If you have to text, then pull over and do it. But there are different rules for phones. So in Ohio, I can have GPS on, but I believe I'm supposed to set it before I leave my destination. Makes sense? It's safer. I can also talk on the phone, but I do it with a Bluetooth, so it's hands-free. Now, some states are really picky about that. If you have a phone in your hand, you can get a ticket for that. If you're hands-free, you're okay. Some states don't even like that. And I don't know the rules in your location, so make sure you check the states. And if there's certain cities that are kind of quirky that you go to a lot, then check their rules as well. So that's it for now. I'm about ready to start this other gig that I'm doing, and I will see you on the road.